Is this thing on? Is this thing on? There it is. There it is. What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, another day in the flesh, live on YouTube, man. Just enjoying our best life, man. What's good with you, though? How you living?
Dude, I'm good. Good weekend. It's Monday.
Yeah.
The weather's beautiful.
It was Easter weekend
Nothing
as
to
well,
complain
right?
about. Yeah, I
How
got
was your
nothing to
Easter? You had a
complain
good
about.
weekend, man?
Yeah, it was fine, man. Just chill, some golf, just relaxed on Easter,
Okay.
and now I'm here.
And you got the Pitt jersey on. No, it's number 43. Is that anyone particular or just like the regular, just Pitt college jersey with the number on it?
So, this is Kevin Barlow.
Ooh, okay.
I never knew him when he played at Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
I was too young. What I did know him from was NFL Street, though. Whenever you do pickup games,
Yeah.
you usually do it where the NFL Street randomizes it. And if some of the better running backs were taken, like LaDainian Tomlinson, Edgar and James, Corey Dillon, like those were some of the top guys.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't.
That's a name.
Yeah, and they
Jeez.
didn't give you a high volume of running back. Sometimes you'd have to pick Kevin Barlow, but he was like a sleeper back. Like he would pulverize the defenders, man. He would truck stick them, and he could get you some dubs.
And he
So
had
that's
the
what I
Pitt
remember.
connection as well, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
I had no clue that he went to Pitt, so that makes this jersey that much cooler.
Okay. Oh, I like it,
Because
man.
I had to look up who was number 43,
Yeah.
and it was him. And he supposedly had a really good career with Pitt.
Well, I'm gonna have to check them out now that you done dropped them over here. And I like the fact it's a starter one, so that lets me know like
This is some
the
old school.
nostalgia.
This is not. It's gotta be 90s.
Yeah. You gotta have the nostalgia on it, man. Always, always. But man, as I was sitting in the hotel room this week and we had to go, travel down to VA, see some folks, I was bored. And when I get bored, I get to researching. And I was like, man, what was so significant about this day? And I always keep looking back in time, like, what was significant about this day? And I was like, well, you know what? We're gonna be recording on the 5th of April. Let me just see what's
April 5th.
Yeah,
This day.
Yeah, this day. Let me see what's significant about this day in history, from an NFL standpoint, at least.
Okay.
And funny thing, this day, April 5th, 1973, the NFL officially adopted their jersey numbering system. So, well, you know how we see, like, no, seriously, think about this, right? Where you see quarterbacks and specialists, numbers 1 through 19. Running backs and DBs can only wear certain numbers, right? That system was created today. You know what else happened today? April 5th, 1965, the NFL decided to officially change the penalty flag color from white to bright gold. That also happened today in history. Now, why is this important? Because the competition committee, man, they got to cooking up. They've been cooking up and they finally released their list of proposals for the new rule changes, right? And two of these things that we're going to be talking about on the proposal list directly coincides with these two events that happen in history in terms of the numbers, because certain people want to adjust the numbers, and we're gonna get to that. But also as it pertains just officiating, man, it's just crazy to think that, man, both of those officiating things happened. In terms of one being the numbers from a rule standpoint for jerseys, and then the other one just being the color of the flag. I'm like, man, all right, this is perfect because we're gonna talk this anyways today. But did you?
Yeah, I did not know that.
I didn't either. And did you know that I thought the flags were yellow the whole time? I didn't know they were bright gold.
Yeah, I didn't even. Well, I guess the number rules, because we've been doing some of those GOAT numbers, and you see some of the skill position players way back in like the 50s and 60s rocking the single number. But yeah, I guess in the 70s, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I was like, man, this is pretty interesting, right? Especially with everything that's popping up right now. But then I kept going back to the flag color. I'm just like, man, I thought it was yellow. I've been saying this yellow flag, and they're telling me it's bright gold. And it reminded me of my first time here in Pittsburgh when I was like, oh yeah, it's black and yellow. Where's Khalifa? And they're like, no, it's black and gold. That's the color of the Steelers. So it just instantly made me think of that. And I was like, well, man, did Deke know that as well? All right.
No.
Okay.
Learn something new every day.
Hey, man, that's the beauty of life, man. Hey, man, I'm just trying to drop gems every once in a while, give them a little education, But before we continue on, while we're educating, make sure y'all subscribing, because we know the people like the vibe, right?
Hell yeah.
If y'all enjoying what you see, we always enjoy y'all. That's why we keep coming up here for y'all, baby. So make sure y'all subscribing as well. But we want to start off with is the new rule proposals. Now, we're not going to go down every single one of them because they are kind of crazy. I mean, you got stuff up here where they're talking about. Let's see what this says right here. Oh, establish a maximum number of players in the setup zone. I was like, yo, what the heck is that? I don't
Yeah,
care about
there
that.
was literally probably only 2 or 3 of them that I was like, this has some type of relevance to me. Everything else, I'm like, I have no clue.
I said, see, we're not gonna bore you with those, with the ones that don't really pertain to what we're gonna be able to fully understand and comprehend, and actually have a feeling either way on. Some of this stuff, it really isn't gonna pertain to us as viewers, or even some of the guys on the field. But the first one I want to talk about, man, because like I said, it's a couple of them. First one was they were talking about the cut block rule. Now, it's two ways that NFL rule proposals get brought up. You either have the competition committee, which is obviously the group of coaches and managers and owners that all work together to continue to make the game safer or progressive or just better for the viewers and things like that. So this first rule change, or this first proposed rule change, is from the competition committee, and they want to talk about, they want to essentially prohibit or outlaw the cut block permanently, right? So we know what the cut block is. That's when you'll see an offensive player typically dive at the legs of a person, anywhere waist down, they'll dive at them and things like that. And it is a very effective block, but at the same time, it can be dangerous. Now, in years past, it's already been outlawed on special teams, right? So you can't run down on a kick and dive at a person's leg unless you're going to tackle them. Sure. But you can't go into a blocker like that, and vice versa. The blocker can't dive at your legs either. But it was never like that in terms of, downs 1 through 3 when you're actually running plays, right? We've seen how many times on screen plays, guys run out there, cut block. We've seen plenty of times. Yeah, like it just happens, right? So what the NFL, what the competition committee is trying to do right here is basically outlaw it completely. Now, to me, I'm not a fan of that. As even though this benefits the offensive players, we know you love your offensive guys. We know this. I've never been a fan of a rule like that, because I understand the safety element of it, but if you're technical and you're fundamentally sound, you can defeat that block. And sometimes we prefer you attack us that way because it's less of a physical blow on us versus when you stay up and you're running. And we've seen the video, I think it was Trent Williams who crushed the linebacker from AZ, right? Yeah. We've seen that. I would much rather you shoot at my legs. I can defend that versus you running full speed at me. But I wanted to hear what you think on that, man.
Wow.
How are you feeling on these cut blocks, bro?
Not gonna lie, you want to talk about the rules that we didn't pay attention to? Or I saw it, I'm like, I'm not worrying about this. This was one of them.
Yeah.
It's not bad from the standpoint that offense has been taking over recently and adding a little element to the defense, because you would think, just right off the bat, this would benefit defense a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not opposed to that. I don't know. I guess from your standpoint, though, if you're just saying it's easy to defend if you're technically sound.
It should be, at least. It should be. We've seen some guys get killed by it when they don't pay attention.
I'm just trying to think. Will I really notice if it's gone?
I think the only time you would notice, especially this first year, is if it was being called. Now, it could happen a lot in terms of being called with this rule change now, because what they're saying now is typically you can cut on screenplays. That's a great thing, because with these bigger O-linemen, they're not as athletic as the defender, right? So you think about Al, you think about Chooks, you think about Banner. When they get going in one direction, they're going full speed, and it's a lot easier for them to run full speed and just dive at your lower body than it is for them to go full speed and potentially have to break down and go right or left with the smaller defender, right? Because you think on the perimeter, who you're blocking? Corners, linebackers, things like that. So that part of it you will see, because number one, these guys are going to probably miss a lot more. But number two, if they do go ahead and take a guy's legs out, now that nice screenplay that's going to be a nice game, it's going to get called back. So that is the part where I think we will be able to see that a lot more.
Okay. Yeah, just based off the calls. Would we just notice the defense playing better, you think? Like, how much do you think these cut blocks are opening things up for the offense, where we could maybe see a little bit more of a defensive game?
No, without a doubt, man. I'm glad you said this. This is why you my main man, Deke. Because people don't be asking those. They don't care about us defenders. They don't. We have feelings. I see everybody in the comments, and I love y'all. We will get to y'all. Trust me. And shout out, Steven. I'm glad the audio sounds good this time. Shout out. We definitely needed that. But I appreciate you, Deke, because people forget that us defenders, we have feelings. I get sad when all these rules are slighted towards the offense and we don't take into account us.
Well, here's what you got to consider. I grew up watching football, being a big fan of football in those 2000s. A lot of low-scoring games. The Steelers defense, like that Super Bowl that the Patriots and Rams played a couple years back, what was it? The final score, 13-3, 16-3, something like that. I liked that game because it reminded me of that brand of football. So I'm for the offense, just getting ramped up a little bit, the high scores. It's fun. Yeah. But there's a part of me, heart and soul. That's Steelers football
There's a
in the
chance.
2000s, bro. Like Big
Oh my
Ben, the way he
gosh.
played, our defense, Hines Ward. We
That
were
was some
winning
beautiful
games.
times.
We were winning games in the teens, but
Yeah,
they felt like dominant wins too.
absolutely.
So I missed that a little bit.
Well, and the thing that I liked also back then was you could win a game, like you said, dominantly, being a convincing win, but at the same time, you had balance. At the same time, it was still high level play from Ben. Let's not act like Ben wasn't playing at a high level back then, but it was just a different style. So yes, I love those type of low scoring games. We just don't get a lot of them often now because of the way the rules are. But this right here, this is huge, man. If they effectively eliminate the cut, like you think about on another play, right? The toss, the toss run where you see the quarterback reverse out, toss, we trying to run to the perimeter. A lot of times cut blocks happen on that as well. Whether it's to the front side where you're getting some of these little receivers trying to cut block on some of these bigger, D linemen and D linemen and linebackers, but also on the back end of that where it's a cutoff block. A lot of times that backside guard, right? It's a D lineman right in the gap, right? You think about what Tyson is. Tyson plays right there, right over the center or in the shade, right in that little gap area. If the play is away from him, that guard has to get his head across from him. Most of the time, they struggle to do that. So the easy thing to do is just to dive at their legs. That's another situation where you can see that in terms of the no cut block rule coming into effect and really costing us because those are just your regular play in and play out runs. Nothing egregious, nothing crazy, but you can just see how that becomes a competitive advantage for that D lineman. Imagine if that's Cam now or Tua, who are way faster than Tyson, and they get that free run like that, they're gonna kill somebody in the backfield. So I like I said, I like it. I like it for that element of it, but at the same time, I'm just like, you're taking away a fundamental element of defense. Like as a defender, we're taught early on how to stop a cut block. You have to see the body first, see the head. Because we know, just like with anything, wherever the head goes, that's where the body's gonna go. We say kill the head. So your eyes on the head, then after you want to kill the head. 2 hands, push the head down. Then after that, you clear your feature good. Problem is, a lot of people, they'll see that and be like, oh, I'm gonna just run around it. Or they'll be overlooking it, and then before you know it, you cut. As long as you do it fundamentally, you're fine though, baby. So I don't think they need to do this because I think it's gonna hurt us more than we would like from an offensive standpoint, if that makes sense.
We'll be a little pissed off this year, potentially.
We definitely would. And especially since we know we want to run the ball this year, too. You think about whether it's Travis Etienne, whether it's Najee Harris, whether it's Javonte Williams, whether it's any back that we have, right? Even Kalen, right? Any of these guys, we're going to want to see them be able to run that ball successfully inside and outside. And if good runs are getting called back because of this right here, we're going to be pretty upset.
What's funny is you complain about the defense getting screwed over these past, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Now you got a roll going in the favor. I think you want it hard a little bit. You want a little chip on your shoulder.
I do. Because I like...
There's always the built-in excuse.
Yeah, first off, it's like, well, y'all supposed to win. I mean, it's slated for y'all to do everything perfect. But I love just to be able to say, well, hey, look, man, we're kicking your butt, and these rules are in place for you guys. You think about you think about how good it felt for us when we watched the Steelers defense these past 2 years, and they're coming up with timely turnovers and stops. You think about that Rams game 2 years ago, right? When we went in on defense, and it's like, dude, you know how great that feels when every rule is in your favor, but we're able to still overcome that? That's the part of me that I love. I don't want us to lose that, but I can totally understand why this would be up there for the proposal.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too opposed to it.
Yeah, so I guess I'm not opposed either, but
it's not passed yet. None of these are passed.
None of these. So the official vote will be later this month. They haven't given a specific date yet, but it'll be later this month. But I anticipate it.
Are you hearing any rumblings on this one?
A couple. Yeah, the ones I picked out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I picked these ones. I got you. We'll
get some inside scoop.
So we have these right here, but I'm assuming that they're gonna get voted on probably before the draft. The draft starts April 29th. So they're going to have these rules. I feel like typically they do them before then. They don't want to have, this is the NFL from a branding standpoint, they never want to have two major things happening at the same time. Lose out on coverage. So anticipate these rules, whether it's next week, 2 weeks from now, that time frame, we'll hear officially if they're going to do it or not, versus them waiting all the way to the end of the month when the draft is starting, because the NFL doesn't want to lose out on that draft. We know this. We know this is what they do. But that was from the competition committee. Now, this second one that we're going to talk about, I like because it's for my swaggy players out there. And this is from the Chiefs. The Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs actually proposed this to expand the jersey number options for certain positions. Now, we talked about that earlier, coming full circle here, right? In terms of this day, April 5th, was it 1973? I said 1973. This was the date where they decided to change the numbers and make it very specific for each position. Well, the Chiefs, they got a lot of skilled players. They got a lot of ballers. And they said that, hey, look, man, we want to allow our skilled players to be able to wear single digits now. So imagine, you have your wide receiver out there and he rocking a number 1. Or you get a corner that's out there in that number 2. I mean, I think Joe Hayden dropped a couple pictures of him in the 5 because, it was his jersey down there with the Florida Gators. Like, imagine how crazy that... Not the biggest of impact in terms of on-field play, but from an optics standpoint, I'm all for this rule. I love this rule.
I am too. No. It always bothered me seeing a dude in college rocking a number, and that was their number, and they're like studs. I mean, Fitzgerald's a perfect example. Yeah, exactly. Reggie Bush too. He was 5. He was 5.
Killed me seeing him switch that. I'm like, what? No, you got to change the rule just for Reggie. Like, yeah.
I'm with you on this. So whenever I was paying attention to both NCAA football, NFL, I always wanted to see the seamless transition of the jersey number, like you said, Reggie Bush going and playing as number 5 in the NFL, Larry Fitzgerald number 1, countless other players. Absolutely, just studs in college. You want to see that number transferred over. It's iconic. Now we get this chance. Here's the question, though. Do we want to see the players that are currently in the NFL? Maybe they had their single digit back in college. Do you want to see the switch? Because Juju and Joe Hayden are good examples for us. Yeah. Joe Hayden with the 5 in Florida, Juju with the 9 at USC. Juju's 19 to me now.
Yeah.
With the Steelers.
I agree with that.
Can we make that switch? I don't know.
So this is my thing.
Or is it like a Kobe thing? You got the 2 numbers.
Well, you could do Kobe, but now if you do the Kobe, you got to make sure you're dominant with both numbers, right? Otherwise, it's gonna look more like Shaq. Shaq, it was like, 32, 34, then all right, we're going to stop with all these other numbers, all right?
So 36 was in there?
Yeah, it was stank. Yeah, look, right? So if you're going to go that route, just know you got to be dominant. But even if the current superstars that we know right now who've been in the league for multiple years, if they don't switch them, imagine this next wave of guys, though. Your Jamar Chases, the different high-end running backs that we've already talked about, some of these other receivers, some of these DBs that are coming out. They get to keep that single digit. I think that'd be dope, man. Like I said, it's just another thing from an optic standpoint that if you're trying to catch the casual viewer, if you're catching that guy who loves watching college ball, but they're iffy on the NFL, and you get a chance to see just how these guys are gonna look with the single digit, it's like, man, I think I want to tune in a little bit more now.
Does it go past the single digits? Now, could it be any number for the skill positions?
So right,
because I'm just trying to think. Was Calvin Johnson 21 in college?
He was. Yeah, he was.
So
21.
what if he was 21?
Yeah, so they
in
haven't.
The NFL?
So for the Chiefs, they were just solely talking about the single digits.
Okay.
Yeah, for like the skill position. So they don't want to go further than that because obviously people will be like, well, you opening up Pandora's box. Now we're gonna get D lineman wearing number 2, kind of like what you see at I think it was what Florida State. They always had their big D linemen in these little jerseys, like the number about to rip off of them.
Yeah, D tackles. That was the thing. Yeah,
absolutely. So I think they were trying to prevent it from going all the way there. But I'm for skill position players being able to rock the single digits. I think it would be cool.
We talk about slippery slopes with some of this other stuff that we talked about on the podcast with rules and like the 17-game schedule. This is one I'm good with. If we want to expand the jersey numbers to everyone, if this is Pandora's box and then all of a sudden it leads to 21 and receivers rocking like number 40 and stuff, even quarterbacks, I'm good with it.
Quarterback coming with a 20 number and he's like balling with it. He's like, ooh, all right, make it cool. Because these numbers get cool because of the players.
I think what they don't want, though, is a stud quarterback rocking 69. That's what they don't want.
Well, he can't do that in Pittsburgh anyways because we know who got 69 at Pittsburgh.
Exactly. But, well, even outside of a star quarterback, just a star player, they wouldn't want Gronk wearing 69.
Gronk is going to sell it, too. Gronk is going to be all, he's selling. Yeah.
I don't think that's what they would want. That's probably where they draw the line. I don't know what line that is.
It's the YouTube crowd out here. We see y'all right here. Is a skill position player wearing 69? Is that family friendly or not? I don't know. I think it's a nice number. It's a nice number.
I'm fine with it, but I could see why the NFL would try to stay away from that a little bit.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably right. And you know what? I'm going to second them on that. But I do like the numbers, though. Single digits I'm cool for.
Sure, for sure.
All right. And now let's see. Oh, now this is from our division rival / cross-state rival right here, man. The Ravens and the Eagles. They are proposing new overtime options for when you win the coin toss. Now, the way the options have been thus far is simple. You either take the ball or you're kicking the ball off and you're going to defend whichever side you want to defend. That's typically the way the rules work. If you win the toss, you say, I want the ball. This team gets to pick which direction, and vice versa. Now, what the Eagles and Ravens are both trying to do, or what they proposed is, if you win the toss, you have two options here. You can go with the traditional sudden death format. Like, think about how it used to be, right? First team to score wins, whether it's field goal or touchdown, first team wins, first team scorer wins. They want to either allow you to have that option or the option to completely eliminate the sudden death format and play it like how it is right now, where you get a chance to get the ball. All right, I'll get my chance, and then we go from there. And lastly, the third part is they want to eliminate overtime completely in the preseason.
Sure.
Thoughts on that?
What's the deal with this spot and choose? Where does that come into play with those two?
In terms of what?
So here's the one part. I don't know if it's included with one of those and not the other, but so this is one of their rule proposals. One team would get a chance to select where to spot the ball at the start of the first overtime possession, and then the other team would have to pick whether to play offense or defense. Have you heard this?
I did hear that as well.
So where do you know if it's for either or of those or both?
It should. I think that is with the first one.
The sudden death.
Yeah, the sudden death part of it. Yeah, where they're able to pick where it's at and things like that.
And then sudden death.
Because they mixed both, because the rules like they relate to each other, so they mix them in there together. It's like a jumbo thing.
I know, because they had two separate proposals. I was getting really confused with this. I think this spot and choose thing might be the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Yes. You see, I didn't even want to include it, right? I was like, I don't even. Go ahead.
I'm being serious. People are trying to say this thing's so innovative and stuff, but based off this example right here, Ravens could spot the ball at the 10-yard line. Then their opponent would have to pick whether it wants to start on offense from its own 10 or play defense. Why wouldn't you set it on the 1-yard line every time?
Right.
What's stopping you from doing that?
Seriously, hey, you win the toss, I won on the 1.
Hey, do you want to defend the other team about to score on you from the 1, or do you want to play the whole 99-yard field on offense? You just put them in the worst spot ever. There's a huge loophole to this. I don't know where the innovation is, unless you put parameters where it's like probably like the minimum number is the 10-yard line or the 20-yard line, but still you would just put it at that yard line every time. Yeah,
absolutely. So
and then I don't like the sudden death element of it, because whoever gets the ball first, if you just score a field goal, it's going backwards almost.
Right, but this is my thing, right? So I will put it like this. I don't mind the sudden death element, because I already told you, I'm a big believer in, hey, it's 3 phases: special teams and defense. So even though you kick the ball up, they might say, all right, touchback. That team gets in field goal range. If they want to settle for a field goal kick, we have a field goal block unit. You have specific field goal block techniques that you use for things like this. Depending on where it's at on the field, that's going to dictate what type of technique you're using, which personnel you're going to use out there. I'm a big believer in that. I'm a big believer in, hey, if we lost the toss and we're on defense, Joe Hayden didn't get a pick 6 a year ago versus RG3 in the Baltimore Ravens. We ain't see that. Mika Fitzpatrick did a run back a pick 6 against the Cleveland Browns earlier this year. We act like defense can't score. We act like defense can't create turnovers. Who says that's not a rule?
You're putting a lot on the defense.
No, you're putting a lot on the offense.
No, I'm saying you in general. Yeah, this is the whole chip on the shoulder thing.
This is my thing. You go sudden death offense, right? Sudden death. And your offense come out there and go 3 and out. What did you just do? You put your defense in the worst position ever. You know what I mean? Like they didn't get no rest, and they're going to have a short field that they're going to have to defend. So to me, I look at it the other way. You look at it like, oh man, sucks for you defenders. I'm like, nah, you offensive guys? It's a lot of guys out there that's going to get real janky and real shaky in those moments. You think about this, the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears named Andy Dalton as their starting quarterback. You don't think we wouldn't like to see that?
Well, we did it the one time against the Ravens in 2019. We kicked off.
It went 3 and out, got the ball back, and it was working. We know what happened, but it was working.
It actually worked perfectly.
Yeah, it went out. It was offense. It wasn't defense. It was offense. So that's why for me,
we were almost in field goal range.
I'm fine with it. I'm cool with it. If you want to go there, we could go there.
I don't like it because it's going backwards. I get what you're saying though, and I don't think there was anything that wrong with the whole sudden death of once you just get some points on the board, the game's over. But it was it the 2010 season, 2011, where Brett Favre didn't get the chance to score. Yes. I like that. I just want to see a little bit of a back and forth. So if anything, I just want them. I think the overtime rules are fine. I just want them to make it so if the first team that gets the ball scores a touchdown, the other team gets a chance to score the touchdown.
Yeah, I would.
That's it.
That would be awesome. Yes, I do.
Because if you score the touchdown, you're the first team to get the ball. It's over. Yes. I said just make it equal. That's not sudden. What would you even call that? That's like a nice back and forth, I guess you could say.
But I guess the
It's
problem,
fair,
but
yeah.
the problem becomes if the other team scores, now we have to get them the ball back, and now you get into this collegiate overtime style.
Yeah.
That's the other end. And the biggest reason why, and for the people that aren't aware of it, the reason why the NFL doesn't like that style is just because the rosters are smaller and physically it's a lot more demanding than college wise. College, you got another 40, 50 people on your roster. So they're not having to play offense plus special teams, defense plus special teams. They're not having to play 100 snaps. You know what I mean? They're playing, it's a certain amount and they have depth. So you can have these kids out here playing, you know, a 4-hour game because it's the greatest overtime game ever. 70-71. We loved it. 30 overtimes. You can do that in college because you got another wave of kids. It's you can start too. You're a 5-star. Oh, you can start too. At the NFL level, you don't have that many people. At the NFL level, you think about just the fullback, for example. That fullback gonna be out here on offense. He out here on every 4 special teams. And shoot, some of these guys might even step over there and play defense. You think about the Patriots, the Dolphins. They use what's the kid, Roberts, the linebacker. I forgot his first name, but yeah, he plays on all 3 phases. So you just thinking to yourself, like, the more these guys are out there, the larger the injury risk becomes.
Well, how about just for the playoffs then?
I would be fine with the playoffs.
Regular season, you could keep it how it is, but for the playoffs,
but it could suck though. Imagine you have that type of shootout in the wild card round.
I don't know. That could be epic though, because there's something that doesn't sit right with
It
college
could be
football
epic.
at the
Check it out,
25s.
right? So,
but if you play in the full field and you go back and forth, touchdown for touchdown, I mean that's epic.
So it would be epic, but imagine this, right? Steelers are having this epic overtime thriller against the Ravens week in the wild card round. We end up going to 6 overtime, something crazy, never been seen before, right? Think about these college overtimes, right? Are they ever just 1?
But
never just 2. You said epic yourself.
You see some of these NFL overtimes though. No one wants to score. It seems like it's different.
But think about, even with no one wanting to score, that still means we still gonna be playing, right? So my thing is this, right? We go into this epic overtime thriller, and it's overtime, right? So we just gonna keep going back and forth, back and forth. Lamar's lighting it up, but 7 is on. You know when 7 gets on. 7 is having one of them days.
9 touchdowns.
One of them days. With overtime, he'll be the first one to do it. Think about that.
Yeah.
So it benefits him, right? So you got this scenario going on. We get up out of that thing. We win. But now we got to go play again next week, and our bodies all jacked up, beat up, because there's only 55 of us on this roster that had to go in this war, and now we got to come in here and play this other team that they won in regulation. They was chilling. They ain't play a whole game and a half. That's a competitive advantage, bro.
It's tough, but if we won because of those rules, I'm good with it. I don't care. We have another week to survive, as opposed to us losing because of the Ravens scoring a touchdown right off the bat, and we don't have a chance to go down with Big Ben in the offense.
If we could find a way to just contain the back and forth, I think or even if
wasn't one of these that they make it 7.5 minutes, and then just final score.
Yeah,
that's
but
then
if you're in a tie though, we can't have that.
And we'll just go to the next overtime. But then it would be 15 minutes. It's already what we're dealing with right now in 1 quarter of overtime.
For me, I would like it if it was you get your chance, you go out there and score. Okay, cool. I get my chance, I go out there and score. Then after that, sudden death.
Okay.
After that, man, you do what you do.
That's the best of both.
Yeah. We'll see.
I would like the touchdown for touchdown shootout.
It would be nuts though.
That's how you play in the backyard.
It is. But that'd be a lot though.
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but I mean that's a rare occurrence. It is. If we win that fashion, I'm good with it, dude.
It is. I mean, how often would it happen? Sure. But when it does happen and it does benefit us, we're gonna feel some type of way. We will feel some type of way.
If we lose the next round,
yes,
that's one of the hot topics.
And we're coming in here banged up going into the game. You know, Ben's arm a little. He iced it all week. He walking around with it in the shirt. We got Meek over here icing his Achilles. You got TJ dealing with a knee. We'll be hot. We'll be really hot about that.
I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
You would.
I'd say just win it in regulation. That's what we had to deal with. That's our own fault.
All right.
But I'm good with the dub.
I can respect it there. I can respect it. All right, and now we got this one right here from the Eagles as well. Now, this is one that they had proposed a year ago. It got voted down, but now it's back up here again. This was the alternative onside kick rule. And initially, when we talked about this, I wasn't a fan of it, but I might have had to change. I think I might have changed. So the rule is, instead of the traditional onside kick, where you know how the rules are with the alignments, the receiving team can't be within 10, or the kicking team has to line up a certain way, and it makes it pretty much, almost impossible to successfully recover onside kick. So what the Eagles are proposing is you get 1 4th and 15 attempt from your own 25-yard line, and you use that as an onside kick. Now, I remember initially I wasn't a fan of it because I said, I feel like you're minimizing the special team as you're taking the element of the game away, which is very true. But with this 4th and 15 alternative, I feel like you make the onside kick relevant because right now, the way the rules are from an alignment standpoint, you're never going. I mean, like literally, we've seen what 2 successful or 3 successful onside kicks with, and it has to be like fluky, like just almost malpractice by the
There were
receiving
more
team.
last year, I think. We obviously saw the Cowboys one. I think it was week 2. I think there were a couple last year, but the big conversation was in 2020. It was so down. But still, over the past 3-4 years, it's been more down than ever with some of these rule changes.
Absolutely, man.
Makes it almost irrelevant.
Yeah, so I'm like, if you've already taken that part of the game away. So unless you're gonna change the rules from a start-stop alignment standpoint just for that part of it, if you're not gonna do that, then I'd much rather you go with this 4th and 15. It'll be more exciting, and we would legit feel like if we're down a touchdown and we need this ball back, we legit got an opportunity.
It's in our hands.
Yes. Whereas with the rules as they are right now, you might as well just close your eyes, kick it, say a couple Hail Marys, and just hope you get the ball back. Because that's what it is. I mean, it's 99.9% impossible to do. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, you have to have a kick like the Cowboys, which was insane. It's just insanity.
Either that, or you have to be the Saints kickoff return team that like can't understand how to recover the kick. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. So and we saw that with Michael Thomas and Kamara that one year. They were back to back. It was, what are y'all doing?
I'm definitely good with the rule change. I think I would prefer like a 4th and 19, 4th and 20. Isn't that what the AAF did? Didn't they do 4th and 19?
Yeah, they did.
I think just bump it back a few yards.
Because 15 is too quick?
I do. I think it's too close. Yeah. Like, what are like Brady in his prime, Mahomes?
I'm trying to think as a defender, if it's 4th and 15, you got 2 options. You can sit back, play zone rush 4, or you can heat them up, try to make the ball come out faster. For me, I'm probably thinking heat them up because knowing that you got to get 15 yards, if I'm blitzing you, I don't care how fast your release is, that receiver's not running 15 yards in a second or 2. You know what I mean? So that's how I would defend it. But then offensively, it's up to you to make a guy miss. I like that. If you go 4th and 19, now I'm definitely a lot more reserved. I don't have to heat you up as much. Yeah.
Because either one, I'm good with either one. Yeah. If it was a perfect world, I'd say 4th and 19. That'd be perfect. But I'm good with 4th and 15 for sure. I like it going in the offense's hands and having a lot more control of that.
I'm with it. And then the last rule change that we're going to talk about, because like I said, the rest of them we cool on. But this is from the Ravens as well. Man, shout out to the Ravens. I didn't even like to shout them out, but they got some. I kind of like these ideas they're proposing here.
The spot and choose was dumb as hell, though.
That one was dumb. I like the overtime adjustment, though. That's what I'm saying. I like that part. Spot and choose, yeah. I'm going to just say that was Philly because we don't like Philly. So that's a Philly move right there. And it would be the Ravens to pat them on the back and be like, yeah, let's do it together. So, yeah, Baltimore keep being Baltimore. But what the Ravens have also proposed is an additional official being placed on the field or being placed somewhere other than the field. So think like with the XFL and AAF when they had the Sky Judge, a person that is either up in the press box in New York, wherever. They got full access to communicate with the officials throughout the game whenever they need to. But at the same time, they have access to a TV monitor, not the sideline. Well, we're going to look at here. No. They legit can see everything and convey that type of information. We saw it be very successful with the XFL and the AAF, and we thought that, hey, man, this is something that we would like. We were not opposed to it. It was quick. It was smooth. You could hear even when the referees on the field made an error, the Sky Judge was like, no, man. This is what happened on the play, dude. You need to change it to this. Go from here. Boom, boom, boom. And everything worked, and it looked good.
I remember that now.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
Absolutely. So
that was just a year ago. It seems like 20 years ago.
that was a year ago pre-pandemic, man. It was nuts.
Yeah, because the XFL was cooking a little bit.
And then the pandemic. Yeah, it killed it. So, yeah, but shout out to The Rock, man. We'll see how it goes from there, man. But when I'm thinking of that Sky Judge, I do like that because how many times, I mean, whether it's in our favor or it's been against us, where we're just like, man, referee, we can see this on the TV copy. What are y'all looking at? Why can't you guys see this? Knowing that they would have another guy that can see what we can see and isn't dealing with the on-field nonsense, he could just call me like, nah, man, you got that call wrong. It should be this. I love that. But I only love it if they're going to do it the right way. I don't want none of these crazy elongated, you know how the NFL, like, it'll be a play that we all watched. And within the first 10 seconds, we know, all right, it was either yes or no. It was either a fumble or it was not. It was a catch or it wasn't. He was either out of bounds. We know as soon as we see it. and they spend 10, feels like 20 minutes under the hood. And
the NBA's doing it too.
NBA's terrible with it. Yes. And you're just like, bro, like you've killed the flow of the game. You've killed my viewership. Like I don't even want to sit here and watch this because of how long it's taken for you to tell me something that I already know. And then they turn around and say something outlandish and review and act as if they didn't watch the same thing we watched. I don't want to deal with that. So if the Sky Judge can come in and make this thing better and cook it up the way it's supposed to cook up, I'm for it.
They're not going to include the transparency stuff with this though, right?
Oh, like how the XFL did?
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way.
I wish.
There's no way.
That was dope because we could hear the communication. We could hear them saying what was wrong about it. Now, knowing the NFL, they probably won't because it can show just with some of these officials.
I don't think I would want it either. It was cool with the XFL, but the NFL is one of those things. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Just give me the right product.
just
give me the right call.
Yeah.
It's the NFL. Like there's something. Don't show me too much behind the curtain with the NFL. You know what I mean?
Straight Wizard of Oz status.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
I don't want to know how it works. Just make it work. I want to be surprised.
Yeah,
I don't want to.
I like how it is. I like how it is. XFL is a little more gimmicky from the start.
Yeah.
Even though the last couple seasons they were actually trying to play legitimate football, but it's the secondary league, so you got to pull out those type of stops. Yeah. NFL, people are watching no matter what.
Yeah,
so,
very
so
true.
you don't need to do all this extra stuff. It would be cool, but I don't want to see it.
I mean, shoot, remember the XFL? They had McAfee like actually on the field doing some of these.
They were interviewing him right after they scored touchdowns and stuff, crazy. Or even like if they botched something up.
Yes, like yo, what? But you got to do that type of stuff when you're in the secondary league. You're absolutely right. But I did like that part. I wasn't opposed to it. Yes, indeed.
Is that all we got for the rules?
Yes, it is, man. But now it's about to be time for you. It's about to be time for you. But before we get there, let me see, man. What we looking at in this chat, man? We haven't even asked them anything. We gotta get them more involved, man. This next topic, y'all definitely gonna get involved in. We're gonna get to hear y'all opinions on something spicy. Sure. But before we get there, you gotta hit the subscribe button while we over here, while we taking this little transition break, right? If you haven't subscribed just yet, I know you're liking what you're seeing. Y'all let us know y'all like what you see. By the way, y'all be talking to us. So if you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And also, you see the merch, you see the shirt. You see the hoodies, the coffee mugs, the Ep.165 with Deke podcast. Deke, they say they love us. Well, if you love us, make sure you're rocking the merch, ladies and gents. Make sure you're rocking the merch.
Nothing out of obligation, just support.
Or is it out of obligation? I feel like it's an obligation. We're obligated to come in here. Think about this, right? Every week, we come in here and we try to create something that's going to capture their attention, something that's going to make them enjoy, something that's going to inform them as well. We even take feedback. We heard the comments about the audio. We heard it. Hey man, the audio was it's the sound. Man, we was combing over stuff all week and trying to get that right. We hear y'all. So yes, Deke, it's our obligation. It's your obligation as well, man. So yes, every single one of y'all bought all up. Bot.
I'm glad you cleared that up.
I had to get it off my chest. Sure. You know, it was lingering. We talked multiple times this weekend. You know how I felt, man.
Sure. So what? This is my topic.
It is your time, man. Is it spicy? Is it spicy in here? It got a little hot all of a sudden.
Dude, it was like 2 days ago, but it died down a little bit because I swear when I called you on Saturday, I saw some type of tweet that basically said they chose Cam Sutton over Steven Nelson.
Yeah.
They're going to give Cam Sutton the starter's job, or at least give him the opportunity to start at that second cornerback slot, which didn't really make Steven Nelson too happy, and which is why the whole request trade or eventually releasing of Steven Nelson happened.
Yeah.
But as I'm trying to look back at what I saw, I swear, dude, I don't know what happened. I told you I saw the Villanueva news in a dream. I don't know if this Cam Sutton, Steven Nelson news was in a dream, but I couldn't find that tweet because it was way more definitive, and that's what happened. So a day goes by, and I'm trying to research this topic again and try to find the tweet. It's gone. And the only thing I could find is a little bit of the story, a little bit of a semblance of that tweet where it's just like Steelers were going to give Cam Sutton every opportunity to start at that second quarterback spot. They told him that in their kind of interview whenever they were negotiating the contract. And that was about it. You don't really hear much else about Steven Nelson and why the Steelers released him or tried to trade him. But if you want to kind of put two and two together there, it does kind of make sense a little bit. But then people are just going off the rails and trying to character smear Steven Nelson, which I don't like. Not even from this. We've talked about this off the mic too.
Yeah.
The little back and forth between Devin Bush, which was completely a joke and was pretty funny actually. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. We talked about this whenever Steven Nelson was initially released and the Steelers were trying to trade him. He requested the trade. It wasn't that big of a deal. I just saw it as business.
Right.
And I see it this way, but that tweet was just a little bit more damning that it had to do with, hey, we're bringing in Cam Sutton, we're giving him a chance, and then like immediately they were looking to trade Steven Nelson, or there was some back and forth between Steven Nelson and the Steelers of getting him out of there. But I don't see that anymore, so that's not confirmed, but it looks like the Steelers are ready to roll with Cam Sutton as the starting cornerback.
Well, you know what? This is great. So we're going to ask the people right here, all the YouTubers. I see y'all out here in the chat. I got y'all. Between Cam Sutton and Steven Nelson, if y'all would have had a choice, if y'all were GM, y'all were Kevin Colbert, who would y'all have rather have kept? Steven Nelson or Cam Sutton, right? In terms of letting them start that cornerback 2 role. Would you have rather it been Steven Nelson? Or you like the fact that we're moving forward with Cam Sutton? Let me know in the comment section, man. We'll make sure we say this. We're gonna chat you. We're gonna shout you out. You know, make sure you give us good stuff in here.
So here's some of this quotes from this article I'm reading. Cam Sutton, coming out of the exit meetings, going into the offseason, they said they were going to give me every opportunity to play outside. But then he also says, it keeps going on, that he loves...
And you were right. Dale Lally reported it. Yeah, we had somebody in the chat just put it in there as well.
So it wasn't a dream.
Yeah, it wasn't a dream. You're good. You're good. Bro, what do you be doing before you go to sleep? You're making me nervous, Deke. How you just be going to sleep? Like, yo, was I dream? Was I awake?
Am I wrong? Am I right or wrong? The tweet's deleted, though. I can't find it.
No, it is. It is. But Steven also, he made his thing private as well. So if you weren't following him ahead of time, that happened. And they said he blocked like a ton of people as well.
Okay. So a lot of shit happened after I saw that tweet.
Yeah. They said he made it private and started blocking like everyone.
Okay. Wow. So yeah, and then it goes on to say Cam Sutton loves the versatility element to his game, that he's not trying to just push that aside. He just wants to start outside, but then also if they need him to play on the inside in the slot, he's more than willing to do that. And then this article, this is from Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, Ray Filipalo? Yeah. And he goes on to compare actually Cam Sutton to Steven Nelson whenever they hit their free agency periods. Steven Nelson a couple years back, now Cam Sutton this season. Yeah. Whereas Nelson was saying, I want to just be a full-time outside corner. But both of them are a little bit unproven, where it's like, hey, we're going to give you this chance to be the bona fide starter. It's just that they're pointing a little bit to Cam Sutton being more open to that versatility element as opposed to Steven Nelson. But from everything I've read or looked at, it didn't seem like the Steelers were gung-ho about releasing Steven Nelson until after this Cam Sutton contract was signed. That's just from what I'm looking at. This is just some of these rumblings going back and forth. But yeah, I don't know, dude. It's interesting because right now, I want Steven Nelson next year.
I agree.
I want him next year.
I want him next year with Cam on the inside. I would.
Yeah, are the Steelers seeing something, though, where they believe in Cam Sutton? There's this upside. Steven Nelson's 29, almost 30. Yeah. Whereas Cam Sutton's about to hit his prime.
Yeah.
Maybe they're betting on that. But as of right now, just for next season, I want Steven Nelson.
Yeah, I just feel like in 2021, Steven Nelson is the more complete player right now. He is the more polished player between the two, and he has just more experience playing on the outside. Whereas with Cam Sutton, it's not to say that he can't grow into that role, and I fully think he will. I'll actually have a film breakdown on him later this week where we show some of the stuff of him on the outside. But it's just like, man, one is a proven commodity. One, we don't have to do the guesswork. One, we have a 2-year sample size here in Pittsburgh of what he did to that secondary and how much better it got once he got here. Whereas with Cam Sutton, you're potentially flirting with it, taking a step back, or you're hoping best case that it's on par with it, right? Because I don't think we are assuming that Cam Sutton is going to come out here and be better than Steven Nelson, but we at least think that he should be on par with Steven.
Sure.
And like I said, that should be a great scenario for us next year, but that's a lot of, questions. That's a lot of uncertainty surrounding that. So that's my thing in terms of why I would have rather went with Steven Nelson, at least for this year, especially with the whole mindset and mentality of, hey, we're running it back one last time for 7. If we're going to do that, let's do that. That's just kind of how I view it.
Yeah. It would have been nice to have that versatility too, where you're not relying on James Pierre, Justin Lane now.
Right.
You could maybe have them take on the Cam Sutton role from 2 or 3 years ago, where you put them in a little bit, see what their upside is, and then groom them to potentially be the starter in 2 or 3 years. But in this case, one of those dudes really got to step up.
No, without a doubt. And like,
I'm betting on Pierre. I'm all in.
It's funny when I watch Pierre and Lane on tape. Pierre is the more productive player of the two. Very fundamental in terms of like his build and what he looks like out there. But Justin Lane, athletically, like it's different. Like I watched Justin, and you can see like why he was drafted. He was drafted. Okay. Like his length, his speed, hips. Like it's certain things just like wow. But then you also see him have lapses mentally, where it's just like, all right, finish this play a little bit better. That's a PBU. All right, drive out of this break instead of just kind of coming out of it softer. Thinking more tackle. No, drive and think more like break in front of an interception. He's capable of doing that. I just think that he needs to have that like mentality drilled into him that you are good enough to do that. It just looks like from a confidence standpoint, he doesn't have the same confidence as Pierre. But Pierre doesn't have the same athletic ability as Justin Lane, if that makes sense. It's like, even though he's not as gifted, he's a more productive player. It's weird how it works at it, but that's what we always say, like, just because a guy's a great athlete doesn't mean he's going to be a great player. And just because a player might be limited athletically, they can still excel. I mean, Robert Spillane was a prime example of what he did this year. He's not the fastest, the biggest, or the strongest, but he's productive. Vince Williams is another guy. He's made a career of this thing. He's not the fastest, he's not the biggest, but he's productive. So that's kind of like how I view them. But either way, I like those two guys in that conversation as like depth, not as potential starters right now.
The third cornerback.
Right. Because we just haven't seen a lot from them to that standpoint. But I did say I was going to get to them. Let's check what they got. Let's see what let's see what the YouTube Nation stand. We got to come up with a name for them too, man. We don't have a name for them just yet.
Okay, yeah.
Everybody has like their followers. Like you got Steelers Nation, you got the Dirty Dozen.
We gotta think of that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you got your Deadheads for the Grateful Dead. We gotta we'll think tank that, or maybe that should be their homework. Maybe y'all should come. What do y'all want to be called? The supporters of what we got going on here.
Sure.
But I'm seeing a lot of us. They would rather have kept Steven Nelson. This one right here. They said that they would rather went with Cam Sutton. This is from Vikesh. Shout out to Vikesh. He said, I'd rather start Cam because of the price and his versatility.
Yeah, see, I like that from...
Yeah. A lot of people are saying Cam because of the cap situation.
Exactly.
David said that as well.
But for next year, solely, I'd prefer Steven Nelson.
I agree.
But if you're telling me I had to choose based off the numbers, like if we had to pay Steven Nelson like $10 million a year versus Cam Sutton and what he got, I would go with Cam Sutton. But in a vacuum, just player for player, Steven Nelson.
Well, and another thing that I'm seeing in here as well, we didn't even ask this. Shout out to Jay Metro on this. He said, shout out to Jay because you were in here as well. But a couple of these people in here were saying that they would rather have cut Hayden. They're saying that, they think that he's lost a step a little bit. That was the conversation we were having. Yeah, so Jay said that he thinks that Hayden may have lost a step. Peter, he said that, he think it would be Hayden, but he just hates to say it because business is business. But from a money standpoint, because
he did have, remember when we talked about this, his cap hit was way higher than Steven Nelson. We would have saved so much more.
Absolutely. And the thing is, do we feel that as it going into 2021 that Steven Nelson was that much behind Joe Hayden? We thought year one, Steven outplayed Joe. We thought year two, Joe outplayed Steven. But I didn't think that either one of those guys in either year separated themselves drastically. It wasn't like a Minka compared to Terrell Edmonds where it was like, all right, this is the clear-cut alpha and this is the number two guy. With both of those guys, we were saying like, man, they make a great tandem because they're both kind of like right on the same level. Now, obviously, Joe can still, I think athletically,
he has more splash plays.
He does.
He had the pick with the Broncos. He had that.
He had a couple picks.
Was it a fumble return to the house? No, it was a pick.
He had a pick six
against the Ravens.
RG3.
Yeah, he has more splash plays.
Whereas remember with Steven, he didn't get his first interception until like week, was it 12 or 13 last his first year here in Pittsburgh.
I think he just had the 2 against the Eagles this year. That was it.
Whereas with Joe gives you splash. And he gives you, I just like his swag. I want you to look good and ball out, and that's what he gives me.
Yeah, and outside of the Bills game, I don't remember Steven Nelson giving up that big of plays. Right. Whereas with Joe Hayden, I remember seeing some chunk plays that he was giving up. I don't know how much that was communication or not. We talked about that for lengths on end the first like 5-6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, because we said with Steven, we thought that his 2 worst games throughout his time here in Pittsburgh were against the Bills. John Brown the first year, and then obviously Diggs last year. We thought that those were the 2 games where he struggled the most. We thought 2 years ago that, man, he just didn't get a lot of opportunities to get interceptions, but he ended up with 2 of them, right? Then last year, we said, man, it was like the communication was off early. Remember the Giants game, right? The touchdown. We saw that a couple times. Then we were seeing the slipping a lot as well. But even with that, I still never felt that he had fallen off. I didn't think he lost a step. I just thought, number one, you got to get better cleats. Probably the Adidas you wearing. Make sure you got some Nikes on, but that's neither here nor there. But, or whatever you got on, like that. But I just didn't think it was that different. But the big part was the money element. And to see what we could have saved if it was Joe versus Steven, that just makes me wonder, like, I don't know.
I think they just picked Joe Hayden and Cam Sutton, what it comes down to.
Yeah.
First, it was Joe Hayden versus Steven Nelson, and then this whole thing with Cam Sutton versus Steven Nelson. I think that's, in my opinion, that's what I'm taking away from it.
Now,
but we thought it was close, though. That's the thing.
We did.
I wasn't opposed to one way or another, whichever one you picked. It was just you might have to make a decision based off our cap space situation.
Now, Cole, I think I said your name right. Cole Fitzsimmons, he says that Joe Hayden and the leadership that he provides, there's that being an added element to it, Now, I do like that. I do know for a fact when Joe came here, man, was that 2017, I think it was my last year here. When he came, even though we had veteran guys, he changed the way we view that secondary. He was, as soon as he came in, that was the alpha. That was the big dog. And everybody respected him as such because of the longevity that he had and the productivity associated with it. And with that being said, the intensity in practice continued to grow. Like, anybody that knows, like, when we talk about our practice in Pittsburgh, like, they get gory at times. Like, it's a ton of fights. We're going to go at each other like crazy. I already told you we would nickname Pouncey in the O-line cannibals because of how they would try to kill the younger O-linemen just in warm-ups alone. So we're like, if y'all coming over here to that like that with us, like, we already know what it is. So with Joe, it just took it to another level because now you got a dog in the secondary. And it was contagious. You saw the other corners start to step up. The safety start to step up. Everybody started to talk a little bit more. You just feel more confident. And that element, I don't know if Steven Nelson would provide that. Like right now, even if Joe, quote unquote, might have lost a step, it's still something about if I'm a linebacker and I'm looking out there and I'm talking to Joe, it's a different level of confidence I'm going to have in this call versus if I'm looking out here talking to Cam Sutton or Steven Nelson and there is no Joe Hayden out there. So I can understand that element as well.
Almost like James Ferrier, maybe
yes,
later
very
in his
true,
career.
Very true.
Leader on the defense, or even Cam Hayward. Who knows how his career is going to progress over the next couple of years? But having him on the roster with that leadership, that can make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And then shout out to Donald Copeland right here. He had said that basically it comes down to just Steven Nelson didn't want to fight for his spot. Now, for me, when I do agree with that to an extent, and I don't think it's a knock on Steven.
Yeah, if some of this stuff is true, I mean, there is a lot of this stuff coming out. So
it's like part of me, because I was never the first guy, right? I'm like, yo, why would you back away from that? I mean, if you nice, you nice. It don't matter where you're at. If I feel like I'm the guy, I don't care what they just paid you. I'm me. And I felt that same exact way when we drafted Bud Dupree. I signed my extension, and then we drafted Bud Dupree. I remember him coming in there, I dapped him up. Man, it's all love. Yo, man, all right, man, you good? I'm like, yeah, you ain't about to take my spot. You better be looking over there. Like, that was my mentality. It always was. So for me, that part of me, I'm just like, yeah, Steven, that does look a little soft when you, but like, not soft in the sense of like physicality, but just like you're turning down that quote unquote pressure that we were always looking for. We want that, But it was like, dang, you kind of turned that down by going that route. Whereas when you think of a guy like Joe Hayden, you never worried about Joe saying, man, I don't know if I could ball with this dude. I don't know if I could beat this guy out. You never had to worry about that with Joe. You even heard Cam Sutton. Cam was like, man,
Martavis.
Even he here for you. Hey, Sammy, he here for you, not for me, for you. So you can see, just how different people have handled it different ways. Part of me, like I said, feels like, man, you should be over here like, man, I'm ready for whatever. But the other side is, yes, no different what we saw with Carson Wentz. As soon as they said Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter, what did Carson Wentz say? Yo, just get me up out of here. Let me go. Just trade me. I don't even want to. I don't want to do it. Let me go. Not everybody wants to deal with the back and forth because what happens is this. High school, it's 100% fair. Collegiately, 75, 80% fair. When you get to the NFL, politics become really big and the business element becomes big. So even if Steven, quote unquote, beat him out, clear cut, it could be a scenario where the team is like, from a cost standpoint, going forward, I'd rather pay him, and I can't see him out here if you're here on this roster. So even if you win, you're still not going to win. So depending on how because I don't know his situation 100% in Kansas City, But that could have played into why he didn't want to deal with this. Why he didn't want to deal with, all right, let's compete with this young guy who just got this new contract, knowing that, man, my contract is bigger. My cap hit is bigger. And how much of a separation, is it for the team to say, well, that money difference based on the productivity is worth it or it is not worth it? If you're Steven, you might not want to deal with that. And if you don't want to deal with it, then yeah, you go ahead and do what he did in terms of asking for the release. So that's why I said I can see both sides of it. But a part of me, I'm just like, man, I want to rumble. Hey, they paid you. I want to be able to walk up to Kevin Colbert and say, you wasted a draft pick. You wasting time. Why you pay that man that money? Oh, he going for Joe? If I'm still, that's my energy, But
sure.
Yeah, man.
You definitely get the side of the organization, the politics, because if they're just thinking one direction, there's not much you can do about it. I mean, you laid it out there perfectly. Yeah. And it could be from the standpoint too, Steven Nelson's getting 70-80% of the snaps.
Yeah.
Weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, but then all of a sudden, randomly, he's playing fine. Cam Sutton's snap count bumps up a little. You just don't know what's happening.
And think about how many times have we seen that?
And it's way worse. It would be way worse in the middle of the season than it would be right now. So from that standpoint, you don't blame it. And that's kind of where I'm leaning with it. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
That he's thinking with it, which I understand. It's just the perception you want to take with it.
Yeah. But either way, if I'm the Steelers and I find this out, whether it was when me and Steven talked officially about, his contract situation, releasing him or whatever, or whether it was the aftermath, knowing that was his mindset, I would have much rather we stuck with Joe like they did, because from a leadership standpoint, Joe is not, we're not going to have to worry about the next wave of corners seeing that and thinking, well, hey, if they bring in a guy or they act like they're going to replace me, I'll just ask for my release. Because then that creates a bad culture. And we don't want that here in Pittsburgh. We've seen that around the league. Like other teams, that's their culture. They will play until, all right, you pay this guy, you bring in this guy, then they're ready to leave. But in Pittsburgh, it's different.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes it sacred. That's why people love this Steelers. That's why we're so passionate about it. Even players, former players, and just fans, because of those type of things like that. And I just feel like, man, let's keep that like that as long as we can. And Joe will help us with that.
Sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
What else we got?
Here we go now. Now, this is like the end part too, man. We got to talk about the schedule, bro.
Okay.
Yeah, so
yeah.
So obviously, we talked about this probably like 2 weeks ago when the NFL was talking about moving to 17 games instead of 16 games. They officially voted it, said, yes, we're going to do 17 games. Our 17th opponent is the Seattle Seahawks now, right? So the NFL, they do what they do. They say, man, we're going to rank who has the toughest schedule going into next year. Now, if you remember last year, they talked about us and how we had an easier schedule, especially the beginning half of it. And I always found it funny how they would say our schedule is easy, but then we would hear people praising the Ravens and the Browns, and it's like, y'all playing the same teams we're playing. It's like they're viewed as hot right now. We're viewed as taking it easy because we got these teams. Now the NFL says, okay, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna reset it. They hit the reset button, boop, and now they have us with the quote unquote toughest schedule in 2021. So just reading off the list of teams now, we don't know when we're going to play them in terms of what weeks, but we do know location. So started out, you got the Ravens, who obviously finished 11-5 last year. We played them twice, obviously home and away. Bengals 4-11-1. We'll play them twice, home and away. And then we got the Browns 11-5. We'll play them twice, both home and away. Then from there, we have to go to Buffalo. Now, like I said, it's not in any order.
That one's got to be late in the season. The snow.
You would think so, right?
Yeah, they're definitely going to do that.
At Buffalo, obviously Buffalo finished 13-3, won the AFC East. Then we have the Bears coming into town. They finished 8-8. Andy Dalton, your favorite quarterback. Then after that, we got the Broncos. They'll be coming into town 5-11. Definitely want to see that again. Then you got the Lions coming into town as well, who are also 5-11. It's crazy. You got 8-8, 5-11, 5-11. They said we got a tough schedule. Make that make sense. But then this is where it gets a little interesting. At the Green Bay Packers, who finished 13-13. A.A. Ron. We know how we feel about him. At the Kansas City Chiefs, finished 14-2. We know what Mahomes is. Now, interesting scenario here. If we get them in that first month of September, I love this matchup. Mahomes, he had surgery a little while ago. He's in a walking boot. He's in a boot, they say, up until football starts, like training camp time frame. I like that.
Chiefs haven't got all the free agents they wanted either.
Exactly. I like that early. I don't want that late in the year. Even at the NFL, they would prime time that late in the year. I would love that early on. I would love.
I mean, there's going to be 2 or 3 games every month for the Steelers.
Absolutely.
Like, these are going to be awesome.
And we're not even done yet. Wait, but wait, there's more. Hosting the Las Vegas Raiders, 8-8. That's where they finished last year. Then we have to go to LA to the Chargers. Man, listen. We missed out on that 2 years ago, baby.
Yeah.
I need us to run that back.
This is
that's
this is
Tailgate
redemption.
City right there.
This is redemption time.
Oh, what?
The new stadium.
Send me to LA. Can we go? Come on, man. I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think we need
If we go, y'all got to be there with us, all right?
For sure.
Chargers, they finished at 7-9. Then we have to go to the Vikings as well. They finished 7-9. Who's the quarterback in Minnesota right now? Oh,
Kirk.
You like that? Then the Seattle Seahawks will be coming into town. They finished 12-4. Obviously Russell Wilson, and then the Tennessee Titans making another appearance in Heinz Field. Finished 11-5 last year. Obviously they had the Russian leader, Mr. 2K himself, Derrick Henry. Based off those teams, the rankings, in terms of where they finished and just how their rosters are constructed right now, not a lot of that scares me. Even though we know our roster isn't a finished process right now, we know we have a lot of work to do in terms of the draft, right? It still isn't as scary as they make it sound. I feel like, man, obviously we know the usual suspects. You think Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Seahawks, yes, Titans, it's going to be tough. Ravens is going to be interesting. And the Browns I'm still interested to see what they're going to look like. But I don't feel like this is some like overly daunting, oh man, how are we going to even, make it to double-digit wins? I don't see that off the top with this right here, man.
We had some of our best runs when we have one of the toughest schedules. I know our 2008 year, we hands down had the toughest schedule, but you think for some of those years in the late 2000s, we were first place. We were playing first place teams from other divisions. And you know how they set it. It's like you play 2 divisions, all the teams, and then they give you 2 random first place division winners, like just to match up the places, basically. Like second place from AFC North plays second place from a random.
Like how they did for Week 17 this year with the AFC North and the NFC West. Division leader versus division leader, 2 versus 2, 3 versus 3.
Yeah. So we've had tough schedules.
Yeah.
It doesn't really bother me, dude. I could have told you we probably had the toughest schedule before these rankings came out, just because of some of these teams and how they finished last year. We got 3 teams coming out of the AFC North that made the playoffs. So
absolutely.
Automatically going to make our schedule look pretty tough.
Yeah.
But like you said, are you believing in the Browns?
That's the one that's so intriguing to me. And
Ravens will be fine, but I still think we're going to be better than the Ravens this year.
Well, I'm trying to think. The past couple years we've split with them, right? Except, since Lamar's been here, that's the different part, right? No, we
swept them last year.
Yeah, the first year we got swept where Ben got hurt.
Yeah.
Because that was Lamar's first full year starting.
We should have won. That was that overtime game we were talking about.
So we still should have split even then. So I look at that like, even if that's a split, I still like us though. This schedule isn't, like I said, it's nothing
unless
crazy.
You want to say the Bengals
man.
Bump up a little bit. I'm still not scared of them. I mean, Chargers.
Chargers are interesting because 2 things. Number 1, Herbert another year older, but Derwin James should also be coming back. Now, can he stay healthy? That'll be the interesting part. Great early on.
Yeah, Chargers are loading up on offense too with the offensive linemen.
And they still got Bosa over there, the younger one. No, the older Bosa's over there, Joey. Yeah. So they got some guys.
But we're still favored in that, and then you run through the Broncos, Raiders, Bears, Lions.
We also know us playing in LA. That's a home game for us.
For sure.
That's going to be a home game for us.
For sure.
Without a doubt.
Place is going to be going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Titans, Seahawks, those are 2 other good teams. Like, there's probably, all right, Titans, Seahawks, Packers, Chiefs, Bills. I mean, yeah, you could probably say, like, those are toss-up type of games.
Raiders. I would throw Raiders in there as well.
Raiders.
I think they played the Chiefs. They split. They didn't split with the Chiefs. No, did they split with them?
Yeah, they did.
They did split with them.
They should have won.
They should have won the second one. Yeah,
they should have won.
They are a weird team because obviously Gruden has them well coached, but they go as Carr goes. If Carr looks good, they look good. When he plays they look But I love the running game. You know what, Josh Jacobs, love that. Defensively, they're doing some things to improve. They still got all them young draft picks though. That's the thing they got to do. Have those young guys step up, start to grow a little bit more. But I just think that could be an interesting one just because of just the style of play. I think it could be a little different.
Heinz Field, that helps us a little bit.
Yeah, I love it in Heinz. I don't like in Vegas. I think it'd be too much distraction. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I mean, we got a tough schedule. I mean, what else can you say? But I feel confident. I feel confident in the Steelers. I really do.
That's my thing. It's tough, yes. But when you hear the toughest schedule, the way the NFL ranks it, I'm like, man, out of all 32 teams, we got the toughest?
Like, it's one of those
It's like,
things. For me personally, Packers, Chiefs. I know you're high on the Bills, but could you see a little drop off from the Bills? I don't know. But, like, the Packers and the Chiefs are the only two teams outside of our division, Seahawks too, where consistently they're always in the mix. Yeah. Now, could you see a drop off from the Titans? Yeah, I think you could definitely see that. The Browns.
I know how you feel about the Titans, man. It's all good.
The Browns.
It's all good. Titans and Bills. You want the job? I already heard it. You're throwing it out there. You're starting early. I hear you. I'm not going there with you today. I'm not going there with you.
You know what? I'm not going to rip on the Bills like that. I'm just going to say, could they be taking some type of a drop off? I'm not going to bet on it because I do think the Bills are a pretty solid team. Yeah. But in terms of the three teams that have been consistent over the past, 3 or 4 years, we know they're going to be at least above 500 in the playoff mix. Chiefs, Packers, and Seahawks. And yeah, probably. Yeah. I'll throw the Bills. I like the Bills better than the Titans.
I'm glad you said that.
I'll say that. I'll put them.
In my most unbiased opinion, I like them better than them too. I like them better than a lot of teams.
I'll put them as the fourth team. Or at least they're in that top 4 mix. Right. I would maybe take them over Seattle right now, but I just know the body of work.
Top 4 just in the NFL, not even.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, top 4, 5, 6, whatever it is. Gotcha. But in terms of the teams on our schedule, I'd probably take them over Seattle right now. It's just what I'm saying is Seattle with Russell Wilson. I always know they're going to be 10-6, 11-5, but now it's going to be 10-7.
Right.
I'm already confused with the math, but Bills should be fine. So yeah, we got a tough schedule. We'll be fine though. We'll be fine.
I can dig it. I'm confident, and the people in the chat, they're confident with it as well, man. Tough division, no doubt, but they like it. Cam says the Chargers are on the rise.
I don't want to hear it, dude.
They are, but they're not rising with us just yet. I like them, though.
I've seen this too much throughout my NFL fan career. Yeah. You get a rookie quarterback, you get some hype. A lot of these teams and players, they can't sustain. They can't.
True, though. Very true. It's hard.
That's what I'm talking about with the Chiefs, the Packers. I guess the Chiefs really haven't sustained it that long. They've just been on a crazy run these past 3 years. Yeah. But with Alex Smith, they were in the playoffs and stuff. They just were never doing any real big winning with Alex Smith. You know what I mean?
I'm with you. No big winning, man. Hey, Joey 2 times now. He believes in the Lions. He says, watch out for my Lions.
Come on,
a ton of exclamation points. But then he says, just
wait, we got Lions fans?
He said, just kidding, we suck.
We got Lions fans.
We do got Lions. We got
That's awesome.
Man, we got fans of other teams. They rock with us a little. You know what I'm saying? They in here.
Even though we are pretty exclusively Steelers with our stuff, but
we are. But it's like we're exclusive with a side eye. You know what I mean? Like we're committed, but we peeking.
Yeah, we talk about some hot topics around the league.
We see you over there. We get. I got you. I peep what you're doing. We give them that, but we're committed here though. Sure. Like this is Bay, and it's like I like you. You're cute. You're nice.
Maybe they like the passion.
We're passionate.
Maybe that's what it is.
We're nice. Yes, we're nice people. We spread this content around every once in a while. But hey, you want more content about other teams? Just have them come on over here. As long as y'all letting us know, we're gonna keep it going. We've always been open, right?
Sure.
People want to hear about this, we talk about that. People want to hear about that, well, we talk about that. Y'all just gotta let us know. That's we ain't putting that on us, we put that on them.
Sure.
Yeah, put it on them, baby.
Sure.
But yeah, let's see, man. Is that everything? Whew. I think so. We're getting some of these names in here.
Dude, is there any of your Bills boys in here ripping on me?
No Bills. No, you're good for right now. I'm checking. I don't see anybody coming at you. You're good. You're good. You're good. We're spitballing names right here. That's what I'm seeing in this section. I done seen Moats Mania, Moats Goats, Art Gallery, and then they were like, "Yo, we gotta include Deke." Yes, the Art Gallery. It was like, you gotta include Deke in there. So I was like, yeah.
You don't gotta include me. It's cool. It's cool.
For the followers.
You don't gotta include
me. The Art Gallery is funny. I was like,
we're gonna send this out to the Art Gallery.
But yeah, man, because that's what everybody do, right? They got their loyal group of whatever they call them.
That's a good one.
That is, right? I like it.
It's funny. I don't know if that sticks long term though.
I don't know. And side note, I don't even like art. I know I like art. I don't like to be called art though.
Sure,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's like
maybe now we gotta do it though.
Chill, see?
You
one of them
that.
type of dudes, right? I try to be transparent and open, and you just take it and use it against me.
Yeah.
And you wonder why I'm shallow. But anywho, man, before we get up out of here, We got a big game tonight, NCAA championship, men's basketball. We had the women's game last night. Shout out to Stanford, man. They won over Arizona 54-53 for the women's side. But we got the men's side, man. Number 1 Gonzaga versus number 1 Baylor. Who you got winning it, man?
What are the seeds?
Both for number 1. Both for number 1
they?
seeds, yeah. Yeah, Gonzaga was the number 1 overall seed, but Baylor, they were top 2, top 3 throughout the season for the majority of the time. They're tough. Both teams are really good, though.
I haven't been watching it all. I just know Gonzaga hit the nice shot at the end.
They did. That was a crazy.
But Baylor smoked. Who'd they play in the Final Four?
Houston. They blasted them, bro. Yeah. But Baylor's been doing that. They've been tough all season, man.
They've been on a roll.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, dude. How long has it been since Gonzaga's like been a top seed and they just never really won anything?
Adam Morrison? I think he was the last one. You remember Adam Morrison, right? With the wavy hair. He was nice too.
Is it their time? Is that what it is? It's just one of those things?
Could be.
Yeah, I'll go with Gonzaga, dude. I don't know.
I'm going to go Baylor just because I was listening to, was it Pimp C, UGK, Bun B? Remember you came here the other day? He was like, hey, what's this music? It's that Texas, that chopped and screwed. So I'm rolling with Baylor, man. Shout out to my Waco, Texas folk out here. So yeah, I like it, man. But either way, I hope y'all enjoyed another live show. You know, we had the audio, right? Connected, everybody was good. So, man, shout out to y'all. We look forward to doing this again. And until next time.
Peace.